Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video, we're going to talk about why this market is going to zero, why the bull market is over, and why everybody's freaking out. Which I can't even say that with a straight face. Of course, I don't think that's the case. That is what the sentiment is. We'll talk about what happened though, what's kind of causing this. Kind of give a reality check, look at, again, am I buying anything, what I'm buying, what am I looking at, why am I buying this, go through that whole talk. If that sounds good, guys, stay tuned. Let's get right to this thing. Have this nice little chat where everybody's freaking out. So what is going on in the market? Well, these damn tariffs. And this is going to be something that's going to be in the news probably for a little bit. We'll see how long it lasts. But currently, Trump did announce those tariffs, just like we announced on that other video. So now, number one, there was a dump because of that between Canada and Mexico, 25%, another 10% for China, and then he also made comments regarding Europe, the EU as well. Now, they are retaliating. Okay, so both of them, both Canada and Mexico, are imposing their own retaliation tariffs. Again, these are going to be bargaining chips. We're going to see what ends up happening. Does this last a long time? Do they come to a compromise? We're going to have to wait and see. This is a game that we are likely to head out well here, that we are very likely to win. Why? Because we can potentially play this game the longest. We'll have to wait and see what happens with Canada. We'll have to wait and see what happens with Mexico. Might be rough for a little bit. Things may get more expensive. We're going to have to see how this plays out, right? But this is what's causing it, and in reality, it's just uncertainty, right? We don't know how long this is going to play out for. The market, as we all know, just hates uncertainty. Whenever there's uncertainty in the market, we're going to see this kind of price action, and that's what's currently happening right now, right? And the fact that this happened over the weekend, we're going to see what happens on Monday when the market's open, or as a matter of fact, I think futures open here in a little bit, so we'll kind of get a sneak peek, and chances are it's probably not going to be too good. So we're going to talk about these dips. Just keep in mind that it's possible that that dip may keep on dipping, right? Especially with these alts, okay? Now let's look at the dip that everybody is so concerned with. Again, BTC is at 96. It is under 97, but it's still arguably in a good range. It is hard to be bearish with BTC anywhere near 100,000, but again, to each their own on that front. Again, as we zoom out, this is the dip that we are all concerned with. Again, looking at the 3-month chart. Okay, this is the one where everybody's freaking out. And then as we go back even farther, again, it just looks sillier and sillier that this is where we're bearish at. That we're more bearish here than we were during these times, right? Seems batshit crazy to me, but that's the market, that's the world we live in, right? So what is hurting right now, though, are these alts. So a lot of the metrics we typically look at, like, okay, typically Q1 is good. It's good for Bitcoin. Not necessarily always going to be the case with alts. Why? Typically the way the alt seasons work, or a lot of these alt pumps work, it's the rotation of capital from BTC into these alts. Like we've mentioned before, my personal opinion, my personal viewpoint, it may be quite different this time because we may not see that rotation into those alts. Especially now, there's a lot more incentive for people to hold between ETFs, nation-state adoption, institutional players coming in, big players coming in, countries coming in, nation-states coming in. A lot more people are not only going to be accruing at a crazy rate, they're also going to be holding them. We may not see the type of altcoin season we had in the past. Alts are still going to go up, but they may do their own thing, just like we've already seen with a lot of these quality alts. A good example is like Solana, for example, and the run that they've had. Ran very aggressively in comparison to a lot of the others. Okay, so keep that in mind. Will they eventually have their day? Sure. Will it be farther down potentially? Also sure, right? But at the end of the day, what I am doing is I have my conviction, I have my goals, and that's where my mind frame is at, right? I am going where the institutions are going. So when they're buying, that's when you probably want to be buying. You don't want to follow retail. You don't want to follow dumb money and be selling during these times, capitulating. Because literally, this is like mind-blowing that people are this bearish right now when look at the freaking, this is just the ETFs, which haven't even been in play that long. They currently now own the top 12, just the US, 5.57% of the overall Bitcoin supply. Realistically, that is actually a higher percentage because not all 21 million are in circulation. There's still a chunk that need to be minted out over the next century or so, and then on top of all the coins that are lost, right? So realistically, arguably, this is a much higher percentage. It is nuts, bros. And then when you dig in deep, guess what? While everybody's capitulating, guess what smart money's doing? And they're not even trying to hide it. This is the crazy thing, is that typically TradFi, we don't really know about these things until it's too late. We're seeing these things on chain. We're seeing our president stack. We're like, it's just batshit crazy that everybody is so bearish right now when all this crazy big money that essentially runs the world is buying the shit at such an unprecedented rate. Okay, you can even see here, you can see all their freaking buys, all the accrual that they're having. January 16th added 5,000. January 17th, 3,500. 21st, 6,200, so on and so forth. Out of the past 2 weeks, there's only been one outflow for 270 coins, which is nothing in comparison to all these. Okay, so when they're buying, you may want to consider buying. Same thing with even like Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy. Look, since freaking November 11th, weekly buys all the way through the 11th, the 18th, 25th, 2nd, 9th. And again, crazy amounts. 27,200 Bitcoin, 51, like, it's just insane amounts over and over and over again. Follow the whales. Okay, so again, totally up to you. We're going to see what happens, but that's where my play's at. My conviction level is just exactly where it was. So we'll see. But again, with the alts go, that's where it is different, right? And that's where there's two different mindsets. If you're a person who just started DCing at the beginning of the bull market, again, my viewpoint is different. You have to come up with your own viewpoints of the market as a whole. I view it very differently than most. For example, for me, we're halfway through the bull market. It's hard to argue, especially looking at Solana, that starting from here, beginning or October 23, look at that trajectory. Going from $20 to $200 on a major altcoin, that's a bear market to you. For me, as soon as we had that confirmed low, that was the beginning of the bull market. Everybody has their own viewpoints. That's the way I view it. So people who just now started getting in these past 6 months, you got into Solana at 200. Like, some people were literally freaking out because Solana dipped under $200 today. Okay, we had freaking this whole big ass downtime. Literally November 22 all the way about an entire year of under $30 sold. And this is when you want to get bearish? Seems batshit crazy to me, right? But again, it really depends on you, your viewpoint, how you see things. I view things completely differently than most, and that's my personal viewpoint of it, right? So kind of to each your own on that front, but to me, again, this is just signaling quality, though. Quality is going to be here. Like, there's a lot of different theories. I'm hearing for everybody. Oh, there's so many coins being minted every day. All the liquidity is going in there. I also disagree with that. Reason being is that, yes, there are about 100,000 coins being minted per day. Guess what? 99.99% of them are also rugging within a few hours and completely dying. We're not trying to build liquidity for all of them. Out of those, like on a monthly basis, only a handful actually will survive. More than a couple of days. In reality, yes, there are a lot of meme coins, but to me, meme coins are just what NFTs were last cycle. That's all it is. For you guys who kind of forgot, that was what was sucking up all the liquidity. The same exact arguments were being made back then. Right? For me, it's extremely fresh because I was in there. I was flipping those damn JPEGs and I was mining. For you guys who are mining, do you guys remember those crazy transaction days every few days? Those were all the NFT mints that we had over like a 3-4 month span. Okay, it was literally every few days. New mint, new mint, new mint, new mint. And it's not just Bored Ape Yacht Club. It was tons and tons of these shit ones. That same thing. They minted and they essentially rugged right after. Same exact thing, just a different name. Okay, so that's why I kind of don't believe in that viewpoint. For me, again, it's going to be quality, though. That doesn't mean that, okay, this little freaking pump fun coin that had a $5,000 market cap I got in, oh, when altcoin season comes in, it's going to hit up. No, bro, that thing is already dead, probably. right? It's quality. Look at those quality coins. Look at things within the top 500. It's going to be the same rotation. Those are the coins that pumped, not the... Because even back then, guys, if you factor in how many NFT projects, how many coins, there was a whole shit ton. Okay, so look for quality. That's all I'll touch on that front. But I do not think altcoin season is over, but I think it will be slightly different in that those quality coins are going to be what pumps the hardest, right? Because there are a lot more, not necessarily coins in circulation, but higher tier projects, right? I think this cycle will be different in that fact that it's going to be more adoption based, which ones are actually getting used versus potential, right? Last cycle, there wasn't really too many smart contract plays. There wasn't a whole lot going on. It was just really speculation and the potential of that coin. Versus this cycle is which one is doing the damn things. And right now it's pretty evident as to which ones are, right? So that to me will be the difference, okay? Because there's a shitload of layer ones. There's a shitload of everything this time, right? But which ones are going to make out the best? The ones that are getting used the most and the ones that get pumped by the VCs early on, right? Which probably one of them, for any guys who got in early on Sui, that may be like the soul type run of this coming cycle, right? Just to each your own on that front, but that's what I'm looking for, right? So I am still super bullish on alts. Let's go down the list. Again, a lot of similar coins that I was looking at last time. I'm looking for coins that have dipped even further. For me, I'm giving a threshold of about 15-20%. Every 15-20%, I'm going to nibble. I'm not going to go crazy hard into them. I'm not like, oh, this is the low. It could be the low. It may not be the low. What I'm waiting for, just like I've mentioned these past couple months, is I'm waiting for a potential nuke of the market, right? To me, yes, these are dips. These are good prices. They are way lower in some cases than they were not too long ago. Some cases there are yearly lows here. But what I would be eyeing are for these that are currently struggling, and then if BTC actually does have a decent dip. If BTC does head down below 90, heads down to like 89, 85, even the 70s, these things are going to nuke, right? Is that highly likely? In my opinion, no. Am I saving for it just in case it does happen? Yes. Again, I'm waiting for the nuke, especially to buy a lot of these bigger alts, because again, I'm not buying even a $200 Sol, $198 Sol. I wouldn't buy Sol even over $100. Our average buy-in, I think, is under $20, right? If for me, it's got to go way low. So is it going to hit that low? Probably not, and that's why this one isn't just on my radar. It's already such a huge market cap, not a whole lot of room to run here, right? Being a $100 billion market cap. Hopefully it does. Hopefully it does go up to like 600, 700, maybe 1,000. My personal, again, I'm more on the low end. I'm at like 450, 500 bucks. At that point, that turns a lot of that Sol that we bought at 10 bucks to a 50x on a big market cap. More than happy. To each your own on that front. Let's continue down. So Demo is one, and again, I'm looking for key players here, key winners in their niche. Looking for that quality, even on the speculative side. Okay, so these are tiny market caps. These can flop. These may not do well. But to me, I'm in that ecosystem, and I see the value there, right? So to me, Demo is arguably in their little niche with the automotive sensors, the leader in that space. $30 million market cap, so tiny, ranked number 963. Definitely a lot of potential upside, right? A lot of check marks also. It is DPIN narrative, made in the US, so it's checking a lot of boxes for me, and again, the leader in its niche. Those are the types of things I'm looking for. Again, doesn't mean I'm going to put in a huge amount, but I am DCAing. Every like 10, 15, 20% it goes down, I'm going to add a little bit more, add a little bit more. Can it continue down? Sure. This thing can go down to a nickel, could go down to 2 cents, could go down to a penny. But to me, it's risk to reward, right? To me, there's still so much potential upside. Can still go down more. That's why we're not going all in here. But to me, it's just upside potential from here. Like, there's just so much more upside than there is downside potentially, right? Again, can go down to a penny. Who freaking knows? We'll buy in even more aggressive, right? It's just higher confidence play. Hive Mapper being another one. This one's about to hit my point to buy another little bit. I did buy a bit. It was up here. It was closer to the 6 cent range. It's currently about to hit. If it hits under 4, if it goes to 4.9, I'll buy another 150 bucks. Again, I'm not adding crazy positions. These are some of my 1%ers. This one, much higher market cap, but again, made in the US, DPIN, leader in its niche. With this one, doesn't have a lot more competition, but it is the leader in that mapping niche. $163 million market cap, ranked number 362. Another one, highly speculative, but higher confidence play. GeoNet is the one that is pissing me off because this thing refuses to dip. This is the one I probably have my smallest bag for being such a higher confidence play. And it's because I'm being very stubborn and waiting for this thing to dip. I want it under 20 cents. And currently, it doesn't look like I'm going to get it. And as a matter of fact, while everything else is dumping, this thing has only dumped a couple of cents. It's still near its all-time high, right? So it is extremely annoying. From the sense of stacking. Obviously, from a bullish potential, massively more bullish. The fact that every other alt is massively dumping and this thing is near its all-time high. Mega fucking bullish, right? So, leader in its space, DPIN US, right? So again, more things. I believe it's in US. I'm not 100% sure. Gotta double check on that. But leader in its space, like what they're doing, use case, bring in revenue, right? So all things we want to see. This is another one. I really, really, really wanted to dip here, but I probably have to stop being so stubborn and just buy a little bit because this is something that has hindered me in the past, right? If you guys remember any of those early portfolio videos when I was bitching about render being too high, I didn't want to buy it at a pump when it was like at $1.20 something. How stupid does that sound now when that thing hit 12 bucks not too long ago? It's currently at, even right now, 4 or 5 bucks. Yeah, I was bitching about it, not wanting to buy it on a pump because it was at $1 and something cents, right? So similar situation here, right? So this is one of those things where I'm going to have to bite the bullet. Maybe it goes down further and then I'll buy in more. But similar kind of thing, right? So you have to kind of learn from your mistakes, learn from things you've done in the past, and kind of move on and go from there, right? Another one, Helium, leader in its space, leader in the defense space, period. This one has not met its low. We did buy some last week at around this range, actually. I think it was like $3.39, so pretty close. For me to add more, though, I need it under $3. Need it under $3 for me to add some more, because realistically, I'm going to hit my target goal with my devices, especially now that the rewards doubled. I'm going to hit it in like half the time, so this is one. If it goes under 2, or if it goes under 3, so like 280, 290, I'll probably add a little bit more. We'll see where we go from there. But again, similar things. DPIN, leader in the space. This one is a US coin, so all bullish things that we're looking for. And now some of the 1%ers that I'm kind of iffy on, that I'm not going to be adding, although they are potentially good deals, right? So a lot of these mineable coins. Struggle buses, right? Radiant, definitely down. I do have the amount that I purchased. Did purchase at like 65. Has gone down even more so. So typically this is one I probably would go into. Not necessarily a higher confidence play, though. This is going to remain a 1%er. I'm not going to be adding to that bag. It's just going to sit there, right? I got my allocation. We'll see if these things change as things go on. But currently, out of all of them, this is probably the one I would be least bullish on just because not a whole lot going on, right? Just a lot of selling from Dragon Ball, most likely still. Not great. Next is another one that fits that bill. This one I would be more bullish on just because of the VC backing, who's backing them, who's developing for them. We've talked about that previously. This is another one that keeps freaking dipping like crazy. This is down to 1.2, right? So pretty a good chunk higher than what our buy-in was. May add a little bit just because it's gone down so much, like especially if you look at the all-time chart. Again, this is what you kind of want to see if you think there's potential, right? Literally, the catalyst here for me is just who's deving it, who's funding it, right? Is that a good enough reason for it to pump? Who knows? There are ASICs now. Dragon Ball did release that ASIC. This is probably part of the reason it's dumping, because I'm sure they are running shit now and just dumping it like crazy. But this is another one that has potential, but I probably won't be adding, right? A lot of these other ones are still small, tiny market caps. Again, ranked number 963 and still has potential. But as these pump, and if these are still struggling, then maybe we'll add more there. But currently, there's just higher confidence plays elsewhere, right? Lithium's another one. Did not see even dipping even further, right? So this is one I pretty much finished my bag in that dollar range. Did end up buying a little bit more, even though I said it was going to be done at like 80-something cents, and now it's down to 60-something cents. I may add in a little bit just to lower that cost basis a little bit more. Realistically, I'm probably going to wait to see if it goes under 50 cents. Will it? I don't think so, but again, anything can happen. If it does, though, we'll add a little bit more, even though I'm more than happy with my allocation. Now, as far as allocations that I want to add, I am very light on AI plays, especially after I dumped my Near. Near, I did sell at a pretty decent profit. Our average buy-in was like $1.80. We did sell at like $6-7 into other plays. I am kind of tempted to jump back in. It did recently hit pretty close. I think it was like 380. I was like ideally targeting like 350 for me to potentially buy in. But part of the big reason we did sell is I don't want too many like top 50 coins. I feel a little too heavy in those regards. I do want to degen a little bit more. And this is where we're considering adding positions. Virtuals is, it is kind of higher up there. It is now at a point where it is very appealing. It did hit a threshold I wanted it to hit, which is under $1 billion market cap. It is now out of the top 100 officially, so now it becomes a lot more appealing. Okay. Reason I'm bullish here, again, dive into these ecosystems, learn about them. Why is there value to them, right? Is it just the name? Are you following a narrative? Look into why there is a narrative, right? So Virtuals actually does. Why? Because it's essentially the protocol for a lot of these AI agents that where they are created at, right? So AIXBT, AI16Z, Vader, quite a few other ones. Luna, for you guys remember that one. So in order to purchase those, you need to purchase Virtuals Protocol. In order to create those, you need to purchase Virtuals Protocol. So this one does have a use case. That is the reason those pump. So yes, arguably you can potentially make more investing in those individual agents. For me, I would rather find value in the infrastructure essentially. And for a lot of these, obviously the popular one is Virtuals Protocol. And it does have a reason for it to pump, and it's not just speculation based. And this one even has the pumpamentals, has the AI narrative, the AI agent narrative, and the gaming narrative kind of all blended on one, right? So although it is a larger market cap, realistically, I'm looking for more degen plays. This is one I may begin to add a bag here, right? Just because of how much it's dipped. Again, recently was at $5. Do I have extremely high hopes from there? Maybe it can double from there. Maybe it doesn't, right? Maybe it's just on the short term. Like come mid-March, by the time of that NVIDIA show, if it goes back up to the $5-6 range, I'll probably buy whatever I buy and probably dump it all then, right? And then invest in something else potentially. Who knows, right? So not for sure, but looking extremely appealing. Another one that we added, and this one might dip even further. I was kind of unsure because it did pump yesterday after that little bit of news they did give us. And again, this one's just fitting a lot of narratives. AI narrative, US coin narrative, and just a lot of bullish things, right? It's a lot of things under the bill. The main complaint here is the lack of product, right? A lot of it is speculation, like especially for us who've been following it for quite a while. We've been hearing about this shit for so long that even good news like isn't really the great, right? We're at the point now where we want to see these things work. We want to be able to go on and see what we can make with you doing AI workloads on their ecosystem. Like, what is that going to look like? Where I think we're all kind of at that point where even good news is like, show me the damn product. Like, I think we're all kind of at that point. So there is a Kraken listing coming that was part of the recent pump here, as well as a more official NVIDIA partnership. Again, no details there though. We want to see details, like what is the extent of it. We've heard many projects also say something similar, only to see nothing really come to fruition, right? What is the extent of it? Are they investing in you? Like, what is the extent? Give us the details. Maybe that'll make people more bullish. But again, even on the short term, just has potential. If you guys remember, again, that AI pump that happened last March, even if it just does that, there are good reasons for this thing to go up, right? Even on the short term, it did hit like that $1.60 range. So even just the potential 4x. We look on the all-time chart, hit around a peak of around $3. So even from them, if we just reach that amount, potential 7+x, right? Potentially even more, as arguably this would be their cycle. This is their narrative. This is their niche. Like, this would be their time to shine if they can deliver product, right? That's the thing we've been harping on, is adoption, actual use case, actual utility. Let's see if they deliver, right? Again, this would be their cycle in my opinion. A lot of other things going on for them is tokenomics are excellent. Total supply is 379 million. Max supply is 440. And they do have a halving coming up prime time. If we're thinking the cycle's going to peak September, October, November, the halving is in August, right? Halving equals scarcity. If there's demand, could be a nice bullish sign, right? So again, a lot of things lining up for a longer term play. This would be, if they're going to have a mega cycle, this would be it, right? We're going to have to wait to see how it plays out. Maybe they don't deliver shit and it flops. We don't know, but again, check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark. On the speculation front, hitting those boxes. The other thing we mentioned, like I talked about, find your niche, find value in things, right? So I like to talk about the things I'm into and as to why, so you can kind of see the reason I see value in things, right? So I'm not necessarily saying buy these coins. Any of these coins we're talking about, that doesn't mean, that means maybe look into them. Look into whatever niche you're in, whether it's your industry, whether it's your fiat job, whether it's whatever. Because when you're in that ecosystem, you actually use those things. That's how you see value, and that's how you see value in that ecosystem. Maybe you see a new up-and-coming coin, like, oh man, this one's going to do well, blah, blah, blah. That's how you find those mega gainers, okay? By coming up with your own thesis and actually looking for those things. So for me, another one I'm big into is Web3 gaming. Okay, that's a big one for me. Again, not too recommended for a lot of you guys who are unsure. Again, look into these things if you're interested. But I like to talk about them just so you can see what value I'm seeing and why I see value in it, right? Other than somebody trying to shill it or somebody trying to talk about it. This is one we did have a decent position in. It did do a quick couple of X's, so we did sell, reinvest into others. At this price point, pretty close to the lows, right? So at this point, pretty close to all-time lows from the release of this thing. Tokenomics are horrible though, just like most gaming coins, but if the hype is there, the economy takes off, it's almost irrelevant, okay? So this one, ranked number 457, $110 million market cap, currently 6 cents. The reason we're bullish here is, again, this is one I have been into since last cycle. It's been in development that long. Last cycle, at the peak, it was the very beginnings of it. They were building this entire bear market. Currently, the product is pretty damn good as is. Reason I'm bullish here, though, is the economy. So this is a Web3 game that has an economy. It's not just a game. It has a token that they emit on with like airdrops and such, which they do also. But the in-game economy is what I am bullish on, and this is the reason we're bullish here, right? So those are the types of things we like to see because that's what can cause the token to really skyrocket if that play-to-earn model really does take off. Which even in the bear market, depending, because they've been tweaking this entire time, depending on the NFT you purchased, some of them are still holding extreme value, meaning the economy is still doing well even after all this time. So therefore, once that token price does go up, it can potentially rocket the use case of that coin. The reason we're looking for games with a complicated, like in-depth economy where it's doable. So if you want to participate in it, you got to get in early. Like the NFTs are already at pretty ridiculous prices. If you got in early though, you were able to get quite a few. We did. I did flip quite a few of them. A pretty good profit, right? I did keep one of my common and my space, and those are actually still earning passively, not a whole lot. But the reason we are looking for is potential. Like for example, with them, the other reason I'm bullish on them is they bring in actual revenue, right? So this article is from last year, and this is what really kind of opened the eyes. They generated over $100 million in revenue, and that's not from token sales. That's from revenue within the game, people purchasing the NFTs, people paying the tax essentially because there's like a 5% fee. And that is extremely bullish, right? Because a lot of them haven't really found a model that works for them to build revenue. So they are building not only an economy, but also a constant revenue stream. Makes me more bullish, gives it longevity, gives it the possibility for it to actually thrive if it does take off. Will it take off? We don't know, but right now, again, it's checking those boxes. For this style of game, it is definitely the leader. And again, at this point in the cycle for any games, they need to be pretty much done for them to really be able to take off and take advantage of this market. Because again, game development is not something that they could build a game in 6 months. pretty much whatever's going to take off, it's kind of already known, right? We kind of already know who's going to be the winners. We just got to see which one is really going to take off. And in reality, it's not going to be the one with the fanciest graphics and the coolest gameplay, although that definitely will help and those will definitely do well. The crazy gainers will be the ones that on the play to earn side are nuts, right? So the example I'm giving, because this is one I did participate in last cycle, was Axie Infinity. If any of you guys bought any of the Axies, if any of you guys got into it, freaking ridiculous, right? And it's funny because it's following a very similar timeline. If we go back to like January 2021, where was this coin price at? About 50 cents. This thing really didn't have a massive takeoff until the spring. March, April's went into the $5-7 range, which obviously was a nice gain. The real gain was when the play to earn really took off, the economy really took off, the NFTs really took off. You can see here, which didn't take until quite a while. It wasn't until June where it really started ripping. This is when the mania happened. It went up to $150, $160. Insane. Why? And it's because the play to earn factor took off because of the token going off, right? So it turns into borderline like a Ponzi. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for games with the potential of an in-game economy that can do something similar. The question is, who's going to crack the economy that's going to be sustainable? We don't know. Right now, arguably Big Time has had a sustainable economy for about a year now, right? So that is a pretty big feat in the space, and it did it in the worst time, in the bear market. We're going to have to wait to see how this one plays out. Another one with that possibility I've mentioned before is Star Atlas. This one does also have a very vast economy, very crazy, very bullish on it because of all the exterior factors that caused the price to go down as much as it did. The only detriment is that it's almost too expansive. They have a shitload of stuff going on, right? If they're able to find that niche, specifically the economy, if they get the economy going, that can really cause something here, right? So will it, won't it? Again, highly speculative. Market cap's 34 million, rank number 899, but it's one of those 1 to 2 percenters, right? That can have something drastic. These are the higher confidence plays. There's a whole lot of gaming coins, a lot of gaming tokens, but specifically I'm looking for ones that have narratives, economies, leader in their niches, leader in that type of game, right? So like Star Atlas is on the space realm. That's a whole different one. The only one that's not here, they haven't released a token yet, and that's Off the Grid with their guns token. So that one, realistically, it's probably going to be valued extremely high. That one is already arguably extremely successful. A lot of uses, a lot of use case, a lot of daily transactions to AVAX, a lot of daily transactions on that chain. It is one that is popular. It is an extremely actually fun game. I do play it fairly often. It does scratch the itch for that like Call of Duty type game. It is pretty freaking good, right? And that's one that the value, honestly, anybody who was able to get those nodes, obviously going to do well. But the NFTs, so especially these early skins, they're trading extremely well. We'll see how it translates when it goes to mainnet. But right now, it's kind of giving a good indicator that there may be excellent value. For example, some of them, like one of the kits we got, it's like 7 different skins, 7 different cosmetic items for being a beta tester. So because of that, very small amount. So that's the key thing right now. A lot of these things for buying that battle pass, those skins, are going for pretty decent amounts. For example, that first one, each little thing is going for over like 20,000 guns token currently. And that's what it's selling at. Not just listed at, that's what people are buying them at, right? So a lot of potential there. We'll see what it translates. Maybe that only translates to 20 bucks, 40 bucks, whatever. Maybe it's a couple $100. We don't know, right? We're speculating, we're seeing, but that's a niche I'm in. That's a niche I'm following, just like I am with DPIN and everything else. Find your niche, guys. Find your thing. That's how you're going to find value. Take advantage of these times, right? Right now where everybody's bearish. It's crazy. Again, find your timing. That doesn't mean these are all-time lows. These dips can keep on dipping. This can go down to a nickel, can go down to 2 cents, and I'm just going to scale, continue buying from there. Am I kind of buying the falling knife in a way? Arguably, yes, but the way I see it, it being ranked number 963, $30 million market cap, $500 million market cap, this bull market, if things go our way, probably isn't something outrageous. I think it's something that's definitely doable. So in my opinion, a lot more upside than downside even purchasing at these levels, right? Purchasing something like Solana at these prices, to me, way riskier. Although it's a high confidence play, not going to get too many multiples. I think best case scenario, crazy market, maybe a 5x. Versus potentially down here, throwing in 1% of your portfolio. Not even just this coin, right? I'm talking about this, but I'm not saying don't do this with this coin. Find your niche, find where you see value, because that's how you're going to find it. Because I'm so heavy into these things, that's how I see them, right? And that's the reason I'm so into these projects. That's why I have little devices. I'm earning and I'm DCing into them because I'm bullish on them, right? So kind of to each your own, guys. But at the end of the day, when in doubt, zoom out, right? Look at this thing. So if BTC starts dipping, though, that's when I'll probably go heavier. If we see a hefty dip, again, tomorrow morning when the market's open, if things are bloody, this may start to go down. And then what's going to happen? These alts are going to go down further. But I already have plans. I already have price points, how much I want to DC into whenever we hit those ranges. It's not going to be exact, but once I hit around those ranges, okay, I'll buy some. Buy a little bit more, buy a little bit more. Right now, my focus is smaller cap. If these things go down significantly, if AVAX initially was 30 bucks, right? But now seeing the way the market go, I'm going to risk it for like 25. Because at 25 bucks now, I have a higher confidence, like 4 to 5x, right? Realistically, at 50 bucks, it was like maybe a 3x. But at 25 bucks, 4 to 5x, I feel comfortable because that's a higher confidence play. Although realistically, it's kind of been struggling in comparison to a lot of the others, namely this guy, which has been stealing all the thunder, right? And it may continue that way, right? That is kind of a worry here in a sense. Because realistically, instead of dividing my Sol and AVAX, Sol has outperformed AVAX significantly. If I would have just gone all into Sol, would have done way better. But again, another learning lesson. To each their own, guys. But let me know in the comments, guys. What are you guys doing? Please tell me none of you guys sold or you capitulated. Again, if you're in a position, though, where you have to, you kind of stretch yourself too much. Again, don't do that. Don't invest more than you can afford. That's why I kind of do things the way I do. Because at this point, all my holdings can go to zero. And it doesn't affect me because it's all its own little side hustle. I try not to invest too much outside capital. I try to keep it all in-house using my earnings from profit taking, etc., etc. But you have to come up with your own game plan. How are you going to do it? But let me know in the comments, guys. Are you guys adding more? Are you guys waiting? Are you guys waiting to see if there's more negative news on that front? That's kind of where I'm waiting at. Realistically, me going in heavy is going to be dependent on this, right? If we go down, honestly, it's going to be a hard stretch to even go below 90 at this point, especially to go under 80. Is it possible, though? Just as fast as it's possible for us to go up that fast, it's possible to go down, guys, right? Anything can happen. Because, yes, we have this going on, but then what if we do have something else that happens at the exact same time? Things can go down, right? So we'll definitely be ready. We'll be nibbling still. We'll see. Again, that's just the way I'm doing it, just because I already have a good amount of allocations with everything, because we've been accruing this entire time. So kind of to each their own. I know people are at different levels, and I just find it funny, again, when everybody's... I am not trying to be an asshole or anything, but it's like when people are freaking out when Solana's under 200, even just a couple of weeks ago, we were at like 180, right? And so it's just funny to me, right? So when we see that, and it's like they're nowhere near bear market lows, like if this thing goes down to the $30 range, would be concerning if it did it that fast, but also would just be buying, right? So again, look at your ranges, look at your strategies, look at your allocations, where are you at with there? Because a lot of mine, those bags are kind of done, and that's why I am looking at like adding different positions, or maybe adding more into these US coins. I'm gonna have to wait and see. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more digging, but take advantage, guys. All right, let me know in the comments. So guys, please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I am out.